Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Meerkat Musings. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, hosted by, of course, myself, Ben, aka Daft Timon. And apologies for that somewhat rambly intro. Now, you may be wondering, why is there a meerkat in a bowler hat standing in front of the Union Jack? Well, I am talking about what it means to be British, because this is a subject which has come up in a roundabout way, thanks to some recent political manoeuvrings, which includes an MP who has, for lack of a better word, breezed between parties as though they're going out of fashion. It just encompasses a few things, shall we say. And rather than rambling incoherently, as I've done for a full minute, let's dive in. So, Lee Anderson. He's an MP who has recently joined the Reform Party, thus becoming the Reform Party's very first Member of Parliament. It ought to be noted that the Reform Party did not win this seat in an election campaign. They basically sort of inherited it because Mr. Anderson was already an MP, and therefore, if anyone who happens to be a Reform Party fan, for whatever strange reason, is being all triumphant at winning a seat, I just want to make it clear you won nothing, as it were. You basically received a gift from a defecting MP. It doesn't count as a win. And there's a very good chance, of course, or one hopes there's a very good chance that Mr. Anderson will lose his seat at the upcoming election. What Mr. Anderson said in recent times was that he wants his country back. He wants Britain, or should I say his Britain, back. But what does that actually even mean? Has he lost Britain down the back of a sofa somewhere? A question which, I rather sort of sarcastically asked a few people who were parroting Mr. Anderson's meaningless dog whistle. And that kind of answers the question, doesn't it? It's basically a meaningless dog whistle. It's just nonsensical. I want my country back. In what manner have you lost it? Exactly. This is a rallying cry used by members of the hard right to moan and complain about what they consider to be woke culture. They use it as an opportunity to deride and degrade, and to basically sow the seeds of division. You will note this rhetoric would not be out of place in somewhere like Nazi Germany. It would not be out of place in somewhere like North Korea. It's the sort of inflammatory kind of statement which is designed to polarize people. It's the sort of thing you can imagine someone like the Neanderthal Donald Trump saying, among others. It's a hollow, empty statement. And it really annoys me, because all this is going to do is stoke the seeds of tension along racial grounds in particular, but there are no doubt many other ways in which this will do this. All of this leads me to the question of what it means to be British, and if you ask me, I don't think Mr. Anderson understands it. I don't think he understands what it does mean to be British. We are a country that at one point swept across the globe through the British Empire. Are we therefore surprised that we brought back elements of all these other cultures with us in some way, shape or form? We are a country that took a very passionate stand to oppose fascism in World War II. Millions of people died in that conflict to stop this kind of rabid fascism from rising again, and to stop this kind of senseless division that Mr. Anderson is stoking. He would be more at home with the Nazis than he would in Britain at any point in history. I mean, it's just absurd. I think when he says something along the lines of, I want my country back, what he is basically saying is he wants his imaginary version of his country back. He wants the version of his country where everything was hunky-dory with little thatched cottages and nothing but white people everywhere, and women knew their place and all that kind of thing, which is a version of the country that he, for one, has never actually lived in, and is a version of the country we don't actually want or need. It's just this, I'm not really explaining myself very well, but it's an aggravating, pointless and frustrating kind of position that he's undertaken. But unfortunately, it's the kind of rhetoric that a lot of people fall for. And this is why I saw his line, parroted across Twitter. But none of them can probably explain what they really mean, or perhaps they're afraid to explain what they really mean because they know deep down what they really mean is that they want to, be openly racist and sexist, among other things. And that's what I think Mr. Anderson wants when he says he wants his country back. People don't actually want or need that. And I hope that's reflected at the next general election, because what I hope happens is that we see reform absolutely stomped. And the Tories, who in themselves have a number of rather divisive misogynists, racists and whatnot in their ranks, get stomped on hard as well. We shall see, of course. But what does it mean to be British? I think that we have been a country, with some grim aspects to our history, of course, without a doubt. What it means to be British these days, I'd like to think, is people that can be compassionate and accepting, and prepared to reject this kind of meaningless, angry hot air. We're not a country that should be tolerating racism and sexism and homophobia and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to think most people do reject that kind of message, no matter how hard people like Mr. Anderson try and stoke it. As I say, I'm not really explaining myself very well, probably more because I'm A, somewhat annoyed by all this, B, somewhat tired, and I just feel like I'm sort of ranting a bit here, but hopefully you get the point I'm trying to make. As Brits, as Britons, we are capable of moving away from the kind of aggressive posturing that the likes of Lee Anderson, among others, like to make. We're capable of being better and improving, unlike people like him who try and drag us backwards. We are moving rapidly away from the kind of society that Mr. Anderson wants, as we should be. And it's high time that he accepted that and moved on.